Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in life when the weight of the world feels unbearable. When you've prayed, you've cried, you've sacrificed, and still nothing seems to change. When the struggle seems endless and every path forward feels blocked, let me tell you something today. God is working on your behalf. You may not see it. You may not feel it. But behind the scenes, beyond the visible, God is moving, shifting, and aligning everything for your good. God is always working behind the scenes, even when we cannot see it. This truth is often the hardest to grasp in the midst of life's challenges. When we face uncertainty, setbacks, or pain, it's easy to feel abandoned or overlooked. Yet just because we cannot see the full picture doesn't mean nothing is happening. Think of a seed buried beneath the soil. It lies hidden, seemingly lifeless, but beneath the surface there is movement. The seed is breaking open, roots are spreading, and growth is beginning. It's a process that takes time, patience, and faith. In the same way, God is orchestrating things in your life that you are not yet aware of. He is working in ways that may seem invisible but are powerful and transformative. The human mind often craves immediate results. We want to see tangible progress, clear signs, or answers to our prayers right away. But God operates on a divine timeline, one that aligns with His purpose, not our impatience. He sees the whole picture, the past, the present, and the future. He knows what is best for you, even when you don't understand it. The moments of silence, the waiting periods, and the detours are not wasted. They are a part of His perfect plan. Behind the scenes, He is aligning opportunities, touching hearts, and setting up circumstances that will work in your favor. Just because you can't perceive it doesn't mean it's not real. We often underestimate the complexity of life and the intricate ways in which God moves. His work is not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's subtle and quiet, like a gentle wind shaping the landscape over time. The answers to your prayers may not come in the way you expect, but they will come in the way that serves you best. Trusting that God is working behind the scenes requires faith that He is for you, not against you, faith that He is a God of order, not chaos. This trust allows you to let go of fear and anxiety and to embrace peace, knowing that every delay, every closed door, and every unexpected turn is part of His divine orchestration. In our limited perspective, we might question why certain things happen or why they take so long. But God's work is not bound by our understanding. The detours and delays are often His way of protecting you or preparing you for what's ahead. Imagine a weaver creating a beautiful tapestry. From the back, the threads may look tangled, messy, and chaotic. But when the tapestry is complete and flipped over, a stunning masterpiece is revealed. Your life is like that tapestry. The trials, the uncertainties, and the waiting are all threads being woven into something greater than you can imagine. Even when you feel forgotten, remember that God is always attentive. He never loses sight of you or your needs. His work is constant and intentional. The people He places in your path, the lessons He allows you to learn, and the moments of stillness are all part of His meticulous plan. Trust that He is working for your good, even when it seems like nothing is happening. Your responsibility is to stay in faith, to keep moving forward, and to remain open to His guidance. In time, you will see the evidence of His hand in your life, and you'll realize that He was there all along, working tirelessly on your behalf. Trials and struggles are an inevitable part of life, but they are not meaningless or random. They serve a purpose far greater than what we often perceive in the moment. These challenges are not designed to destroy you, but to refine you, shaping you into a stronger, wiser, and more resilient version of yourself. Just as fire is used to purify gold and pressure is used to transform coal into diamonds, your trials are tools in God's hands to prepare you for the blessings He has planned for you. Without struggle, there can be no growth. Without resistance, there can be no strength. Every difficulty you face has the potential to teach you something, to stretch your capacity, and to elevate your character. It's natural to question why we must endure hardships, especially when the pain feels overwhelming. But consider this: every significant achievement, every moment of triumph often follows a season of adversity. The tree's roots grow deepest in the harshest storms because it is during those storms that the tree learns how to anchor itself and stand firm. In the same way, your trials push you to dig deeper, to find strength you didn't know you had, and to rely on God in ways you might not have otherwise. They strip away the superficial and bring you closer to the essence of who you are and who you are meant to be. Struggles are not punishment, they are preparation. The blessings that God has in store for you are often bigger than you can imagine, and to handle them, you must be ready. Trials are the process through which God equips you for what lies ahead. They build your endurance, sharpen your perspective, and teach you patience. Without these experiences, you might not fully appreciate the blessings when they arrive, or you might lack the wisdom to steward them well. Think of an athlete training for a marathon. The grueling hours of practice, the sweat, and the sacrifices are all necessary to prepare for the race. Similarly, your struggles are a form of training, preparing you for the race God has set before you. It's also important to understand that trials have a way of drawing you closer to God. When life is easy, it's tempting to rely on your own strength or to forget the source of your blessings. But in moments of struggle, you are reminded of your dependence on Him. These challenges deepen your faith and strengthen your relationship with God. They teach you to trust Him even when the path is unclear, and to lean on Him even when you feel weak. Through the refining process of trials, you become more attuned to His voice, more aligned with His will, and more prepared to walk into the blessings He has prepared for you. Though it may not feel like it at the time, trials are a gift. They are an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to transform. Every tear you shed, every obstacle you overcome, every moment of perseverance is shaping you into the person you are meant to be. And when you finally emerge from the fire, you will not be the same. You will be stronger, more compassionate, and more equipped to handle the blessings that await you. The struggles are not the end of your story. They are the beginning of a greater chapter. Trust that God is using them to prepare you for something extraordinary. God's delays are not denials. His timing is always perfect, though it can be challenging to accept this truth in moments of waiting. When you're praying for a breakthrough, hoping for a door to open, or longing for a change in your circumstances, delays can feel discouraging. It's natural to wonder if God has heard your prayers or if He is even working on your behalf. But a delay from God is not a rejection, it's a redirection or preparation. His timing is not governed by human schedules or impatience. Instead, it operates on a divine plan that is intricately woven with purpose and wisdom. When you experience delays, it's essential to trust that God sees the bigger picture. He knows what you need and when you need it. Often we think we're ready for certain blessings or opportunities, but God knows whether we truly are. He understands the weight of the blessings He has prepared for you and wants to ensure you have the capacity to carry them without being overwhelmed. A delay in this sense is a gift of grace. It is God's way of giving you time to grow, to heal, or to develop the skills and character necessary to handle what's coming. Imagine a farmer planting seeds. After the seeds are sown, there is a period of waiting before the harvest. During this time, the farmer cannot rush the process. The soil must nourish the seeds, the rain must come, and the sun must shine. The delay is not a denial, it's the natural rhythm of growth. In the same way, God's timing in your life involves a period of nurturing and preparation. What looks like inactivity on the surface is often a season of unseen progress. God is aligning circumstances, working on your behalf, and preparing your heart to receive what He has planned. It's also important to recognize that His timing is perfect because it aligns with His purpose for your life. What may seem like a delay to you is actually part of a greater plan that you may not yet understand. Sometimes what you think you want right now may not be what's best for you in the long run. God's delays can protect you from settling for less or pursuing something that isn't aligned with His will. He may close a door to open another that leads to something far greater than you imagine. These moments require faith and patience, trusting that He knows what is best. Well, in your waiting season, God is teaching you valuable lessons. He is building your trust in Him, deepening your faith, and refining your character. This process helps you shift your focus from what you want to who you are becoming. Waiting is not wasted time, it's a sacred time of preparation. It's a reminder that you are not in control, but you are loved and cared for by the one who is. His delays test your endurance and your commitment to trusting Him, even when you cannot see the full picture. When the time is right, God will act. He will open the doors that no one can shut, and the blessings He has promised will flow into your life in abundance. But when those moments come, you will look back and understand why you had to wait. You'll realize that his timing was not just good, it was perfect. So when you encounter delays, hold on to your faith and remember that God's plans for you are worth waiting for. His timing is not only perfect, but also always for your ultimate good. Those doors are not the end of the road. They are often divine redirections, guiding us towards something better than we could have imagined. In life, it's easy to feel disheartened when opportunities don't work out, relationships end, or plans fall apart. These moments of disappointment can feel like rejection, as though we've been denied something we deeply desired or worked hard for. But when a door closes, it's not always because you weren't good enough or didn't deserve it. Sometimes it's because that path wasn't meant for you and God has something greater in store. Closed doors are not failures, they are moments of divine intervention, redirecting your steps towards something better aligned with your purpose. When a door closes, it's a sign that God is actively working in your life. He sees what lies ahead and knows what's best for you, even when you can't see it. What may seem like a missed opportunity is often His way of protecting you from harm or disappointment down the line. Imagine trying to enter a door that leads to a path filled with obstacles you're not equipped to handle or opportunities that would ultimately hinder your growth. By closing that door, God is saying, trust me, I have something better prepared for you. It's not rejection, it's redirection. Closed doors also force us to pause, reflect, and seek God's guidance. When everything is going smoothly, we might lean on our own understanding or make decisions based on what we think is best. But when a door closes, it's a reminder that we are not in control, and it pushes us to seek God's wisdom. This redirection allows us to realign with His purpose for our lives and focus on the paths that truly matter. It's an opportunity to grow spiritually, to strengthen our faith, and to trust in His plan even when we don't fully understand it. It's important to remember that every closed door leads to another door opening. In the moment, it might be hard to see what lies ahead, but closed doors are never the end of your journey. They are transitions guiding you to places you might not have gone on your own. Think about the countless stories of people who face rejection or setbacks only to find themselves in far better circumstances than they initially hoped for. The job you didn't get, the relationship that didn't work out, or the plan that fell through may all be stepping stones to something greater. These closed doors are part of the process of aligning your life with God's ultimate plan for you. Moreover, closed doors teach us resilience and faith. They remind us that our value isn't determined by what we achieve or by the opportunities we're given, but by who we are in God's eyes. Every time a door closes, it's an invitation to trust Him more deeply and to believe that His plans for you are always for your good. The temporary disappointment you feel is a small price to pay for the joy and fulfillment that comes from walking through the right doors that God has opened specifically for you. Or when you encounter a closed door, don't dwell on what you think you've lost. Instead, embrace it as a sign of God's loving care and guidance. Trust that He is redirecting your path for a reason, leading you toward a future that is brighter, more meaningful, and perfectly tailored to you. Closed doors are not endings, they are beginnings of something far greater. Let them guide you with faith, patience, and hope, knowing that what's ahead is always better than what you're leaving behind. Faith requires action, and true faith is demonstrated in our willingness to move forward, even when the path ahead is unclear. It's one thing to say you trust God, but it's another to step out into the unknown, believing that He will guide your steps. Faith is not passive, it is active, requiring us to take steps forward, even when we cannot see the whole picture. It is about walking in confidence, trusting that God has already laid the foundation for your journey, even if you cannot see it yet. Faith is the bridge between where you are and where God is calling you to go. But when the path ahead feels uncertain, it's natural to hesitate. Fear and doubt can creep in, whispering questions like, what if I fail? What if I make the wrong choice? But faith silences those doubts by reminding you that God's plans are greater than your fears. Moving forward in faith doesn't mean you have all the answers. It means you trust the one who does. It's about taking that first step, knowing that God will provide what you need for the next step and the one after that. Faith is not about having a detailed map. It's about trusting the guide. And think of the moments in history where great leaps of faith changed the course of someone's life. When Noah built the ark, he didn't know when the rain would come, but he acted in obedience. When Moses led the Israelites to the Red Sea, the waters didn't part until he stepped forward in faith. These stories remind us that faith requires action, and it's in that action that God reveals his power. Standing still in fear or waiting for all the answers can keep you stuck, but moving forward opens the door for God to work miracles in your life. Faith in action also teaches us to rely on God's strength, not our own. When the path is unclear, it forces us to acknowledge our dependence on him. You may not feel equipped, strong, or ready, but that's the beauty of faith. It doesn't rely on your abilities, but on God's provision. Taking action in faith often means stepping outside of your comfort zone, embracing the unknown, and trusting that God will meet you there. It's in those moments of uncertainty that you grow stronger, more resilient, and more attuned to God's voice. Moving forward in faith also ignites hope. Each step you take reinforces the belief that God is with you, guiding and providing in ways you might not have expected. It's in those moments of motion that clarity begins to emerge. Doors open, opportunities appear, and God's plan unfolds in ways that remind you of his faithfulness. Faith in action is not blind optimism. It's a deep trust that even when you can't see the whole staircase, you can take the next step because God is holding you steady. So when the path ahead seems foggy and uncertain, don't let fear paralyze you. Move forward, even if it's just one small step at a time. Trust that God is lighting your way, even if the light only illuminates the next step. Each action you take in faith brings you closer to the purpose he has for your life. Faith is not just believing in God's promises, it's walking in them, even when the road is unclear. And as you move, you'll discover that God has been there all along, paving the way for something extraordinary. Gratitude and blessing others are powerful forces that amplify God's work in our lives, creating a cycle of abundance and joy. When we approach life with a heart full of gratitude, we shift our focus from what we lack to what we have, and that shift has a profound effect on our mindset and spirit. Gratitude is not just about saying thank you, it is about recognizing the hand of God in every part of our lives, the big moments, the small blessings, and even the challenges. It's about acknowledging that every good gift comes from him and cultivating an attitude of appreciation that transforms how we experience life. So when we practice gratitude, we invite God to work more powerfully in our lives. Gratitude is an act of faith that says, Lord, I trust you. I see your goodness in my life, and I believe you have even more in store. It opens the door for God's blessings to flow because it aligns our hearts with his will. A grateful heart is fertile ground for growth, and it magnifies the blessings we already have. Instead of dwelling on what's missing, we begin to see how richly we've been provided for. This perspective not only deepens our relationship with God, but also fills us with peace and contentment, even in the midst of trials. Equally important is the act of blessing others, which amplifies the impact of God's work in our lives. When we share our blessings, whether it's our time, resources, kindness, or encouragement, we become instruments of God's love in the world. Blessing others is an extension of gratitude because it reflects an understanding that what we have is not ours to hoard. It's a recognition that we are stewards of God's gifts, called to use them to uplift and serve others. This act of giving doesn't deplete us. Instead, it multiplies the blessings in our lives. As we pour into others, God continues to pour into us. Blessing others also creates a ripple effect, spreading God's love and goodness far beyond what we might initially see. A small act of kindness or word of encouragement, a helping hand or a moment of generosity can change someone's day and sometimes their entire perspective on life. When we bless others, we reflect God's character, demonstrating his love in tangible ways. This not only impacts those we bless, but also draws us closer to God, deepening our sense of purpose and connection to him. Gratitude and blessing others work hand in hand to amplify God's presence in our lives. When we are grateful, we recognize the blessings we've received and are moved to share them with others. And as we bless others, our gratitude deepens, creating a beautiful cycle of giving and receiving. This cycle draws us closer to God and allows his light to shine through us, impacting the lives of those around us and glorifying his name. In moments of doubt or struggle, choosing gratitude and seeking ways to bless others can be transformative. Gratitude shifts our focus from our problems to God's provision, and blessing others reminds us that we are part of something greater than ourselves. Together, they allow us to experience the fullness of God's work in our lives, turning ordinary days into extraordinary opportunities to reflect His love. So let us give thanks with a joyful heart and look for ways to be a blessing to others, knowing that in doing so we magnify God's work and draw closer to His purpose for our lives.